Hey guys, it's Tina here. Welcome back to another episode of Tina Tries It. In today's episode, I will be testing out the new Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Concealer against the oh so popular Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. Wait, would this be a Tina Tries It? Well, technically I'm like trying to compare both, so I'm just gonna call it a Tina Tries It. Make sure you hit subscribe if you guys haven't already. Now, Rihanna has recently launched her new concealers and a lot of YouTubers have been reviewing it. I'm sure you guys have seen videos online. And so I thought I would do something a little bit different. So I went on my Instagram and I asked you guys, what product would you like me to compare against the Fenty Beauty concealers? Either the Too Faced Born This Way concealers or the Tarte Shape Tape. And you guys voted for the Shape Tape. I think this is going to be a very interesting review. Even though Shape Tape has been around for a while, I know that in Sephora Australia and Singapore, Shape Tape just came out. Before that, it was only available online, and of course, like everyone is just like going crazy over anything Rihanna, Fenty Beauty, you know. Hello, this is Future Tina. I totally forgot to mention that I am doing a giveaway on my Instagram. I will be giving away all of these makeup from Fenty and Tarte. I have a few extras, so I was like, why not be like Oprah and give some away? So if you guys want a chance to win all of this, make sure you head to my Instagram at Tina_Yong and enter. Anyways, back to the video. Here's a quick overview of the Fenty Pro Filter Instant Retouch Concealer. It's available in 50 shades. There's 8 ml of product in it. The concealer has a medium to full coverage. It's long wearing and crease proof. It also has a soft matte finish. The Tarte Shape Tape Contour Concealer has 30 shades, so less than the Fenty one, but it does have more product. It has 10 mils. The coverage is full. It has an easy to blend formula. It won't flake or crease and has a matte finish. Another thing to note is the size of the concealer wands. The Tarte one has a very big fat wand, whereas the Fenty Beauty Concealer has more of a regular size one. Side by side, you can see the difference here. Me personally, I prefer a smaller concealer wand. Now let's test out how each of them apply and wear. Now I do want to mention that I did prep my skin and apply foundation before this video. I moisturized my skin with Active Moist from Dermalogica. This is great if you have combination skin like me because it's an oil-free moisturizer and it absorbs really quickly into the skin. Also, I really like that it doesn't leave like a sticky or greasy feeling on my skin. And it just helps to smooth and prep my skin before makeup application. Also, I made sure I prepped under my eye area using the Stress Positive Eye Lift from Dermalogica. This has actually become one of my favorite products to use in my skincare routine. What I really like about this is the cooling massage applicator. It just makes it really easy to apply and it kind of depuffs and helps to brighten up my under eyes. I either use it as like a normal eye cream or I put like a thicker layer on and let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes and then massage it into my skin. Then I did apply the Urban Decay Complexion Primer. I like to use this one because it has an SPF and it kind of smooths out the skin as well. Then I popped on a very sheer layer of the Beauty Blender Bounce Foundation in 3.25. Now I left my under eye area free from any foundation. What you see on there is just the eye cream. Now I just want to emphasize how important it is to apply an eye cream before concealers, especially if you experience like creasing, flaky or any dryness after you apply concealer, because we don't have any oil glands around that area. You need to actually moisturize and keep that area quite hydrated. I'm going to apply the Fenty concealer first. This shade is 190. So I'm just going to apply a couple of lines like that and then use a beauty blender to blend and smooth it out. If you want more coverage under your eye, you can also use a concealer brush or your fingers to just pat the product in. I'm also going to bring that concealer down a little bit as well because I actually didn't put foundation on that area. So I'm going to use it to kind of brighten up my face overall. My experience with this concealer is that it takes a lot longer to set compared to the Shape Tape one. So you can actually map out your face and then, you know, blend away. Whereas with the Shape Tape one, I recommend you working on certain areas, blending that out and then moving on to the next because it dries quite quickly. All right, let me apply Shape Tape to this side. The shade I'm using is light neutral. Again, I'm just going to kind of like apply it. I'm going to dot it because the applicator is just so big, you get a lot of product. And then I'm going to work it in with my beauty blender. And then again, also a little bit down here. Shape Tape also blends out really nicely. It starts off creamy, but it sets to a true matte. Now here is my dilemma. I know with Shape Tape that sometimes I don't need to set this side because it has quite a true matte finish, whilst with the Fenty side, the Fenty concealer is quite creamy and I do feel like you should set it. So, should I set both or should I just not set one? Like, is that gonna like mess up with my comparison? You know what? I think I will set it, but really slightly with their matching powders. I'm definitely not gonna bake because that's just gonna dry my eyes out on this side. So let's set the Fenty side using the translucent powder. This shade is Banana. And I'm just gonna like make sure that's blended in nicely because it did sit there for a while. And then just like tap it in. This powder does smell really good. Every time I use it, I'm like, I know I shouldn't be sniffing it in, but I can't help it. Then I'm gonna do the other side with the Shape Tape. I do like the packaging to this better because it has this like little netting and a mirror. So I do think the packaging is nice, but then you get less product, so you win some, you lose some. Again, I'm just gonna pat that in. Really doesn't need much on this side. It's just so mattifying. Now you guys have seen how each of the concealer apply and blend out. I'm going to do a wear test. I'm going to keep it on for at least 8 hours or more and do a proper wear test and show you guys what it looks like after. But let's be honest, I don't feel like you can tell too much from just a wear test. So I'm going to do a couple more little tests to give you guys a better comparison of the two concealers. Oh, I just dropped it. It's fine, it didn't break. The first test I'm going to do is the coverage test. I've drawn 2 X's on my arm using an eyeliner, and I'm going to use the Tarte Shape Tape to see if it covers the X. I'm blending out with a beauty blender because that's how I would normally use it. And as you can see here, it doesn't fully cover the X. Let's see how the Fenty one goes. Fenty didn't quite cover it either. So now I'm going to go in for a second layer, and instead of blending it with a sponge, I'm going to use my finger to pat it in. Shape Tape was able to cover up most of it. I think it did a pretty good job. The Fenty one didn't do as well, but then again, it does say on the website it is a medium to full coverage. Next, I'm going to test out to see if these concealers are water resistant. These concealers are meant to be sweat proof, but I went a little bit overboard with the water and just poured it straight over the concealers. I then ran my finger over the concealers. I pretty much rubbed it. And surprisingly, both held up pretty well. And finally, I'm going to test out if these concealers oxidize. So here on my arm are the dried swatches I applied about 20 minutes earlier. And now comparing it side by side to the color in the bottle, you can see that the Tarte one is significantly darker than the shade in the bottle. And trust me, they're the same shades I used. The Fenty one is also slightly darker, but not as dramatic as Shape Tape. So let me show you what it looked like originally when I swatched it on my arm. So here you can see Shape Tape is so much lighter when you first apply it, and when it oxidizes, it is significantly darker. That was a big surprise to me. The Fenty one is also a little bit lighter when you apply it, meaning it does oxidize when it dries. I would say it's about a shade or a shade and a half darker than the original color. Here's what the swatches look like about 5 to 10 minutes later. You can see it's starting to darken up. Okay, so I am back after 8.5 hours. I finished off my makeup after I applied the concealer. I did this dramatic eye makeup, this gray cut crease. Do you guys like it? Just something different, just wanted to have a play. What I do notice about my concealer under my eyes is this side has a little bit less coverage than this side. So Fenty has less coverage than the Shape Tape. Also, it kind of seemed to settle into my lines a little bit more than this side. Do note that I already have these fine lines there. It's not like they just appeared after. I feel like I'm getting more of them with age, so it's not a big surprise that there is small lines there. Now, if I had to choose a side where I liked better, I would probably pick the Shape Tape side. I honestly thought I would like the Fenty one a lot better, considering I like the formula and I like that it doesn't dry as quickly as Shape Tape, but surprisingly this side looks better on me. Now for the pros and cons of each concealer, here is my quick rundown. For the Fenty concealer, here are the pros. It has a wider shade range, it has 50 shades all up. You get longer playtime with it as it takes longer to set. For me, that generally makes it easier to work with. The formula is long wearing and sweat proof. Plus it has a smaller brush, which is a pro for me. I feel like that could be personal preference though. The cons to this concealer is that it's less coverage than the Shape Tape. You also get less product. It takes longer to dry, which could be a con for some people. And for me, it would need to be set with powder. For the Tarte Shape Tape concealer, this one has better coverage, you get more product, it's long wearing, and it stays matte. It dries a lot quicker, and it doesn't need to be set with powder. The cons would be the shade range. Compared to the Fenty one, it has 20 shades less. The brush size is bigger, which means with each application, you actually apply a lot more product. Also, a big thing to note is that it does oxidize significantly. In my opinion, I think both of these concealers are great. Both of them have more pros than cons, and it just depends on what sort of preference you have when it comes to concealers. If you're looking for something a little bit more coverage and that stays matte, Shape Tape is definitely better for you. One thing I want to address is the oxidization. When I swatched it on my hand, because I swatched a thick layer on my hand, you could see a big difference. But when I applied it on my face, like, to be honest, I didn't see the color change that dramatically. So unless you're using Shape Tape on a large area and you're layering it over and over again, I wouldn't worry too much about the oxidization. If you want a buildable concealer and longer playtime, definitely try out the Fenty one. That is it to this video. I hope you guys have found it useful, especially if you're looking for a new concealer. If there are other products that you want me to compare and do a side-by-side comparison, please let me know below. Also, if you have tried out both of the concealers, let me know which one worked better for you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram. I shall see you in my next video. Bye!